Now, in general, in this survey, we tested about 70 brands across industries, and the results here show a clear spectrum of trust performance. At the top, we see, USAA, Costco, Mayo Clinic, all of which benefit from strong reputations and consistent delivery that's earned lasting consumer advocacy. Now, on the flip side, brands like Spirit, United Healthcare, and Target landed in that bottom tier. And, I think this really tracks with some of the aforementioned headlines about public missteps and backlash from consumers. But overall, in many ways, these rankings feel very intuitive to us. They reflect not just how people feel, but how brands have acted in these critical moments. So the result really makes clear to us that external events and how brands respond are shaping trust. So, with that, I'll pass it to Amy to bring this framework to life with a healthcare case example.
Thank you, Julia. I'd like to walk you through a specific example with Kaiser Permanente, which is one of the brands that we tested in our self-funded study. Um, and in this case, keep in mind that Kaiser Permanente kind of sits between this idea of a health system because they deliver care and a health insurance company as well, right? So they're an integrated health system. So their brand health score, or excuse me, brand trust score is below the overall average for the healthcare industry. So they're sitting at 55 relative to that 64. And part of their core value is really being patient-centered, right? And so that's what consumers need to feel as they're experiencing them or thinking about brand engagement. What we see is dependable, customer focused, and having integrity were some of the large drivers for Kaiser. And so, as we think about how that played out, what are the ways in which consumers were communicating to us that Kaiser was a high trust brand or a low trust brand, for example? So, a few quotes here. They're a well-known, respected company, right? But they won't refer out of network, for example, even when they don't have the expertise. So these are some of the things that we heard from consumers directly as they responded. So we all love good verbatims, right? A qualitative insight, rich insight is really powerful. But we really needed to go beyond that and quantify this data, right? And what this meant and help brands be able to make decisions. And so with that, we created a proprietary simulator tool. And so you see here an example. This is a static example of that tool, but really it's a dynamic tool. So as you make changes, you would see the overall impact, for example, to specific attributes and that overall brand trust score. And so this is a tool, right, that researchers and stakeholders can use to model and really support decision making in real time, right? And so in this example, we see that focusing on customer first, so putting the needs of customers first over profit, going above and beyond to make the customer feel valued, and then a couple of dependability and integrity items are really what would have the most impact on brand trust. So as those are communicated and perceptions may shift, that brand trust score could ultimately move from 55, where it currently sits, to 58. So again, the simulator is about taking action. So thinking about the metrics that matter for your brand, considering perhaps what competitors are doing, but really being able to move the needle and leverage this type of simulator tool in conversations with stakeholders, for example.